How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, man. Doing all right.
Yeah, I'm good. Let me make sure you can see me because I know I got a little glare in the back. So,
It's cool. It's cool. So, Rashad, I already did a little intro on who you are, how we kind of got linked up, and I know that the attention span of the people is short these days. You dig what I'm saying? Especially Generation Z. They say it's about 8 seconds of attention span you got to work with. So, we've already talked. I know you're good. You know my family is good. I know your family is good. So I thought we
yeah,
just get right into it so that we can hopefully have maybe a 20, 25-minute conversation of just questions and answers that are associated with, the theme of this conversation. So as you know, I wanted to talk about purpose and spirituality, right? And how that impacts your work. Um, and so with that, there's a few things that I want to do. All right, there's a few things that I want to do as we talk about as you talk about purpose and spirituality. First thing is I want to inspire everyone, right? I want to inspire everyone because I know there's a ton of people that are listening to you and saying, "Oh, I thought he was going to be nice too. Yoda said that. I thought he was going to be nice too. Yeah, I watched that brother walk onto the floor. He took one step onto the floor, and I knew he was going to be special, right? So I know there's a whole bunch of people that are, saying that they thought the same thing you saw, okay, or they thought the same thing you thought about this player. So I want to inspire all, but I want to put a few people in their place. I want to put a few people in their place to let them know that, man, this ain't like this work that you do ain't a cup of coffee in front of the phone. Like
no,
this is a lot of work. It's a lot of work, right? But I also
tons of work.
but I also want to empower a lot of people that although numbers, data, the trends, all that stuff is incredibly important. But if you can access the spiritual world and you can access feel and timing and touch, you can use a different realm to make yourself special. And I think that's what you've done because you're the perfect combination. Your work seems to embody both spirit and hard work and equation, right? You work
Yeah,
hard, this is what happens. So you are kind of the perfect combination of that. So let's jump right into it. Let's jump right into it. So I want to just make sure that I tell people your story a little bit before we get to the
that'd be
spiritual
great.
stuff. So
That'd
real
be
quick,
great.
where were you born and raised?
I was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan, man. I'm an East Sider for life. I was born in Grace Hospital, which is no longer there. But yeah, family from Detroit, born and raised. I got Detroit in my blood.
Where do you live right now?
I'm in Orlando, Florida. I moved
Oh,
to Florida. I'm going on year 4. In June, it'll be 4 years.
okay.
I moved here, and probably the best decision that I've ever made.
And I want to make that I wanted to make that clear because again, I'm filming this, and I want to make sure that whoever sees this, if there's some little black boy on the east side of Detroit that's
Yeah,
seeing you and they see where you are now and don't know the story, they know that if you're from the east side, you can do some incredible things, right? So I just want to make sure
absolutely,
we establish
absolutely.
where you're from, born and raised.
Born and raised East Side, East State Fair, 75 in Chrysler to be exact.
Facts. So listen, I'm going to assume that basketball is your passion. I'm going to assume that you love the game of basketball. And I think I'm right. I see you shaking your head, but are there any other passions that um, you have that are maybe connected to basketball, connected outside of basketball? What do you love? What are you passionate about um, as it relates to, again, career and things maybe outside of career?
That's a great question. I don't think nobody's ever asked me that. I'm passionate about um, injecting people with knowledge. Um, I'm passionate about injecting people with the invisible. I love to educate people.
Okay.
That's just something that I love to do. You combine that with my passion for basketball, for sports, and you combine that with educating then you kind of get how I've kind of got to this point where I am today in regards to loving people. I just love people who love me back, and just trying to just shed light on things and just be positive in everybody's life. Everybody you encounter, I just always want to leave a positive impression on people, no matter what. And that's what I try to do.
So my next question is it's about genius level talent, right? So genius level talent is a natural ability capable of being converted into a genius level skill, right? So to cut it short, genius level talent gives you access to enhance understanding and instincts. Now, you just said something about teaching and educating, but I was
Yeah.
thought that basketball was your genius. Basketball was your genius, and understanding the game is your genius. But then you just said something about educating, and so if I was thinking about purpose, genius is educating. Your genius is educating. Your passion is the game of basketball. Your purpose is to educate people through the game of basketball. But
Right.
what do you think? And I'm assuming because I know you a little bit, but what do you think your genius is?
Being able to take something that is in plain sight, um, and turn it into something that nobody else can see. I think that's all the time they say the best way to hide is in plain sight, and a lot of times I feel like I'm able to see the things that are right in front of people's face, but they're not able to process it the way that I can. So
Facts.
what I do is I try to take that gift that I have of being able to process something that's right in your face,
Yeah,
that you can see but can't see, and then after I tell you, you're able to say, wow, it was right in my face.
sure.
So that's what I try to do, and I think that it's a gift that I have that I had to hone in on.
Hmm.
And I've been able to do it time and time and time and time and time again. Like I've been able to do it so much where, to the point where, they I was called lucky a lot of times.
Yeah,
But when you do something over and over and over and over again, it's not luck. It,
yeah.
it becomes an attribute.
Well, that's a perfect segue into this next question. Can you give me some moments where you were taking things that are in plain sight? Everybody can see it, but you were seeing it differently and you were processing it differently, and you were able to, kind of open up everybody's eyes to help them understand. Like, listen, this has been in front of you all this time, but you didn't understand its dimensions and you didn't understand its value, so on and so forth. What moments can you recall, whether it is playing in high school, college, pro, and even the work that you're doing now? Are there some moments where you were being made aware of this ability and that yeah, simple as that? Because it's some moments in the past that you can look on and say, this is a moment that was pivotal in my understanding of my own ability.
Well, the best example that I can use right there, Marv, is I can use my own life.
Hmm.
As a kid, I was able to see my future. It may sound weird,
Nah,
but to me, you
nah.
know, but the things that I say, or the things that I do, a lot of times to the normal eye, it comes off as, oh, he's being arrogant, or he's being, and it's like, it's not. It's just a belief. I think there's a thin line between that, but I can use my own life. As a kid, second, third, fourth grade, I was able to tell my teachers what I was going to be. Now at 41 years old, I
Hmm.
was able to tell my teachers, hey, this is what I'm going to be. I'm going to be an all-state basketball player in high school. I'm going to be an all-American in college. I'm going to play
Hmm.
professional basketball. And then when I'm done playing professional basketball, I'm going to be a great teacher, and
Mm.
I'm going to do things on TV. Now imagine a second grader telling you that, And I've been able to do that. So the best example of my own gift is I've been able to predict where I am today.
Interesting. Yeah. So, man, listen, where we're going to go with the spiritual concepts, I think you're going to touch on some things that, again, are going to help a lot of people understand that, look, numbers are important. Numbers are
Yeah.
important. Hard work is important. Doing your due diligence, studying, all that is important. And it can take you far. It can take you far. But we cannot ignore the power of spirituality and feel. When you have feel, when you have touch, when you have timing, your gut feels unsettled in certain situations. That's something that you can rely on, and that's something that is as valid as anybody out here doing all the number work. And I think there's a lot of people that think that their feelings aren't important, or their feeling, or their touch, their gut, whatever, or their spirit, or their connection to the work is invalid because you can't quantify it. You can't, you
Right.
can't touch it. You can't put on a piece of
Right.
paper and say, but that is equally as important as, all of the concrete, hard skills. But you said something about arrogance, and I think Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant were both looked at as being arrogant. And I think the reason why they came across that way is because they weren't focused on the opposition. They were focused on,
Themselves.
look, they were working to convince themselves that they were as good in reality as they were in their mind, in their
Correct.
spirit. So, like, it's not
Correct.
even about you, Drexler. It's not about you.
Reggie Miller,
It's
all of you
not.
guys.
Yeah, it's not about that. I just want to prove to myself that all these thoughts that have been floating in my head, I want to make sure that I can do that in real time under pressure. So it's not like it's not even about you. So, like, when you're not acknowledging the teacher and her concepts, or here's the concepts of the teacher and about what they think you can do, you're like, bro, it's it's no diss to you, but I'm so focused on my future and what I'm thinking, that I don't have time to acknowledge what you're saying my projections are, or what you're saying that I might be moving forward.
Mhm.
So let's go back real quick, and then we'll move on to a couple of these purpose questions, and then we'll get to the spiritual stuff. Can you tell me what your purpose is? I know it's a deep question, and even if you got to, like, kind of work yourself through it, but have you discovered your purpose, which you were put on this earth to do yet?
Sure. My purpose is to educate. My purpose is to bring awareness to the unheard. My purpose is to connect the masses
Mm-hmm.
to the people who don't get the opportunity to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
I am a portal between the normal and the abnormal.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned that that's a gift that I've been given, and I've been able to nurture it over the last few years, is to connect the not normal to the normal,
I
which
get it.
makes everybody normal once the connection happens. So I believe that I am some type of connectivity source
Mm-hmm.
between this side and this side.
Yeah.
And then you have me in the middle
Mm-hmm.
that's able to bridge both sides together, and that's my gift. And it's a strange place to be, because you get riff from both sides.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in the middle. So I get this side barking at me,
Yep.
and I get this side barking at me,
Mm-hmm.
until I'm able to connect both sides. And then they say, "Oh."
Facts.
So it's an ongoing connection that I'm always experiencing, because I'm always trying to connect two sides.
Facts.
I'm
Facts.
always trying to make people believe both sides can coexist, both sides go together. And I've been able to do that. I've been able to do that with the game of basketball, is become a portal, a liaison to some extent to be
Mm-hmm.
able to walk kids across a bridge
Mm-hmm.
into their comfort zone, and also walk the people who don't believe in those kids
Mm-hmm.
across the same bridge. So you got both sides walking across bridge, and I feel like I'm like the safety guard. I have my cones and I'm waving. You can come
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
across. Hold on a minute. He's not ready.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, come across. Your turn. Come across. And I feel like it's just an ongoing thing that's in my mind and that I have with people.
There's two things that I
Hopefully
heard.
that made sense to everybody out there listening.
There's two things that I heard that are really important. Number one, knowledge, wisdom, understanding is where we find our purpose, right? Knowledge,
Yeah,
wisdom, understanding is where we find our purpose. But here's the funny thing about knowledge, wisdom, and understanding: it is often connected to experiences, moments, and emotions that are associated with tough times, right?
sure,
So
sure.
you're if you think you're going to find your purpose in convenience, you're sadly mistaken.
Yeah,
So
very.
here you are in the middle of this thing, and you get it from both sides. And we all and you and I have talked, and I don't know how much this information has come out, but people have said some wild things to you simply because of your projections of basketball players.
Yeah,
You're simply endorsing basketball players, and people that said some wild things to you, right? Um,
daily. Yes, yeah,
yeah. So that's like that discomfort. So you are having to find your purpose in the midst of discomfort. Um,
correct.
there was another
Correct.
thing that I said. Oh, and the other thing that I thought is kind of funny about. So we talked about that discomfort. It's another thing that I thought is interesting. What if you existed when you were playing?
Hmm.
Somebody this. So here's this person in Detroit
Hmm.
in playing in broad daylight, letting your letting your favorite basketball player have it, and no one wants to acknowledge it. No one wants to see it, and you
No,
are now and it's funny how you had to go through that, so then you can then be the person who understands what high level talent looks like. This is what high
yeah,
talent, elite level ability looks like.
yeah,
But you also understand what it's like to be the person that has those skills, abilities, putting up those numbers, putting up wins too. Not just putting up numbers, putting up wins, but because of the market, because of the school, because of height, because of the era of basketball, whatever, they can't see it. Now you've been kind of given the responsibility to bridge the two
yeah.
together, those two
Yeah,
worlds.
I felt like I'm able to bridge two worlds together because I've lived on both sides of the world, in
Hmm.
regards to being the person that nobody heard of and being the person that everybody should hear of.
Yeah.
I've been on both sides. So I'm able to understand a Ja Morant. I'm able to understand a Trey Young. I'm
Hmm.
able to understand a Kendrick Nunn. I'm able to understand a Fletcher McGee. I'm able to understand these kids and what they go through when they're at the top level, at the bottom level, at the middle level, because I've been all of that.
Hmm.
So I've been able to. Life for me has been a education stage, and what I'm doing now today is sharing my education vicariously through the game of basketball,
Yeah.
and connecting that world because I live that world. I know what it feels like to be an all American. I know what
Yeah.
it feels like. Everybody doesn't know that feeling, but
Yep.
I try to share that feeling with people who don't know what it feels like to be the when you walk on campus, everybody follows you.
Yeah.
When when you're the guy, when everybody laughs at your joke, when everybody this, when everybody I've been there. My partner in here now, Kendrick Perkins, is
I see him.
he's done, like, he reached out to me and we've developed this great friendship because we understand each other. And it's like, that is what's important to me, is that I've been able to be transparent.
Hmm.
I've been able to let people feel my humility. I've been
Hmm.
I've allowed people into my life to show them I failed. I didn't do this. I've triumphed. I've failed. I've done it all. So I'm able to bring things together because of the life that I've lived.
100%. So listen, man, that we'll